Because people, fans, love rankings. Everybody likes to look at a list. When I took the job at ESPN, being a former coach, I wasn't big into rankings because rankings are just a number next to a player's name. Think about that. Whether the number is 1, 10, 25, 100, or there's no number next to your name. It's just a number. And what happens with that number is people automatically think that there's a success level with that number. And that's not always the case. Okay? When you get ranked, it means that you have talent. It means that you have God-given ability. You've had a great performance. And along those lines, you have advanced skill, a blossoming skill. You have athletic ability. It's a combination of size, athletic ability, skill, ability to dominate a game, make your team win. There's a lot of different factors that help somebody get ranked. And how do you get ranked, or how do you get seen? Exposure. But the downside is to exposure is being exposed. Everybody thinks they want the bright lights till you get there. And then maybe you don't perform so well. Things don't go so well for you. Maybe you don't think you're as good as you are. And that's not true. You're better than you think. You're just not as good as you think you are. It's really important that for what we do at ESPN, if you click on you click on the #1 player in the country right now is Ben Simmons. He's from Australia. He goes to high school in Florida. We have him as the #1 high school player in the country. 6'10", tremendously skilled inside the arc. Not a three-point shooter. Mid-range shooter, mid-post player, low-post player, finisher at the rim, rebounder in traffic, exceptional passer, because Australians can really pass and shoot. Exceptional passer at 6'10", and can handle the ball. Performances of double-figure points, double-figure rebounds, shoots the ball at a high percentage, and dominates opponents, and makes his team win. Okay, he was the MVP of our tournament in April, the ESPN high school event in New York. His team, Mount Verde Academy, played Oak Hill, La Lumiere High School, all the top-ranked high school teams in the country. They went 3-0, they won it. He was the reason why. So that's why he's #1. But all those factors come in. But when you click on his name, there's a grade. We put grades up. Number grades. 90, 80, 85. And they all mean that we project that player at a certain level. That's his grade. That's how he grades out. And then when you click on a little further, you'll see an evaluation. That's our evaluation as college coaches of what that player is today and what he can become in the future. So when it comes to our site, which I think is highly credible because it's coaches doing the evaluating. There's a lot of people that are scouts out there, and a lot of people have websites. And it's great because I see these guys follow their passion, but I'm not sure of the level of coaching in their background or playing in their background that sometimes can make them a scout. So you have to differentiate and see who's doing the rankings. There's some very, very credible people out there, people that are always in the gym, that are always watching the game and not on their phone. To me, are pretty good scouts, and that have some sort of background in playing the game or coaching the game. But in a nutshell, it's your performance, it's your potential. Where you are today, where can you get to in 2 or 3 years from now? That's your potential. Your productivity. What do you do every day? How productive are you? You hear maybe your parents say all the time, you're not very productive in the house. You don't do anything here. You got to be productive. What do you give me every game? How many rebounds can I count on you? How many assists can I count for you? What can I count on you for your shooting percentage? What's your level of productivity every game? And then we project. What can you be in the future? Can you be a Division III player? Can you play at that level? Can you succeed at that level? Can you play Division II? Can you play Division I? Can you be an NBA draft pick? That's what we do at our site. And don't get me wrong, I know Coach, you'll speak about this, but a lot of guys that played Division I maybe should have went to Division II and would have had a greater window of opportunity. Now, I remember when recruiting, I would recruit, say, someone, not Scooney, but somebody like Scooney, and I'd say, do you really want to go to North Carolina? If you come to Boston College, I mean, you can play a lot more. You can go to North Carolina, you may not play that much. And right away, the student athlete would say, you mean I'm not good enough to play in North Carolina? Well, I'm just projecting where I think you'd be best. And that's what coaches do, they project. They project where you would fit. And everybody can fit somewhere. And the best place for you to go is where you have the greatest window of opportunity. But rankings are nice. There's something to talk about. It shows somebody's level of talent. But by no means is it an indicator of success. Do you know how many players were never ranked or blossomed late? Doug McDermott was a great McDermott. Which one? Doug, right? The kid Dougie Buckets. The father's a coach, right? Who knows Doug McDermott, the name? Okay. He was a mid-level plus recruit out of high school. That's what we saw at that time. And we plugged in future projection. But you know what Dougie McBuckets had? I think he had a lot of things on that checklist I gave you. We couldn't measure his heart. We tried. Obviously, he had a great respect for the game. His dad was a coach. Obviously, he had great preparation. And it was clear that he improved his game every summer. And it was really evident that he learned how to play because every night the defense came to him with double teams, schemes, zones, traps. Everything that a college coach could throw at Dougie McBuckets, he threw up 20, 30 points. So he learned the game. He learned how to get open. He learned how to get a shot off. He learned how to create time and space for himself. But he did have size, and he did have skill, but he was a late bloomer. And Kenneth Fareed, another guy, not in the rankings out of high school. Was he not on our USA basketball team? Dominating. And then you get guys all the time that are ranked in the top 10, top 20. Never pan out. Because, see, college coaches are looking for what I told you. They're looking for your love of the game, your respect, your preparation level, your improvement, and how you learn. That's what college coaches are looking for. They want to win. Make no mistake about it, but that's what they're looking for. Besides talent, skill, size. So you can be unranked and be a really, really good player. You can go out of high school, not have your grades maybe in order, or your basketball game's not ready, go to junior college, like George Reese. George Reese went to Logan Junior College, right, George? You still here? No? He went to Logan Junior College, came back, went to Ohio State, pretty good. So there's different ways to get to where you want to get to. But big time is where you are right now. Don't forget that. And rankings are just one measure of somebody's future. But if you don't have the traits and you don't have the right approach, the rankings mean nothing. Scooney knows a lot of guys that were highly ranked that didn't make it. And just along those lines, if I can, Chris Herron. Who's watched the documentary 30 for 30 with Chris Herron? Unguardable, it's called. Okay. I recruited Chris out of Fall River, Mass. Scooney and Chris played together in the summer. They were running buddies. They were thick as Steve back then. Two great players. Chris turned... Right, he might not have went to Boston College and Chris didn't go. Chris was a bona fide pro. But drugs entered his life. And you know what he lost? He lost respect for himself. So when I talk to you guys about respect, it's not just a cliche. Chris started to use alcohol and drugs, didn't respect himself. And those alcohol and drugs took hold of his life. He became a heroin addict. He still made the NBA, still made it, because he was such a phenomenal player. And then when a needle in his arm and his baby in the back seat in a car seat crashed into a pole one night on heroin. He's lucky him and his child didn't die. And that was his wake-up call. Because he didn't respect himself. If he did, he would have been a 15-year pro because he had everything else. And hopefully you guys don't want that kind of wake-up call in your life. That's why respect is such an important facet to get to where you want to go. So rankings, they're nice, they have a meaning, but they're not the final indicator of anybody's success.
Thank you, Ira. Before I forget, because I almost forgot about the name. Yes, the winner. Dropping the name. The winner is Bernice Sims. Bernice Sims. Well, Bernice, we definitely will take care of you. You know what? You should have won this because you was the first one to come in here and sit down. Exactly. So you're more than deserving of this. But no, those were real powerful words, and I hope you guys listen to what he said about the ranking. Because again, I know you wonder, it's something you look at. It's hard not to as players. Everyone wants to see where they line up against their peers. But you heard exactly what he said. If your name is not on those top 100, on the top 200, on that list, it's not the end of the world. A lot of guys make it that are not on that list. And truthfully so, and rightfully so, it's not always a bad thing. Because you know what it does? It makes you hungry. His 5 points, he talked about a lot of things. But one of the things you need to have is hunger. You have to find your own hunger. Do you notice that during all the success stories you hear about, they went through some hardship? There was some that motivated that person. Now, if I'm going to use someone, for instance, I know all you being from Central Ohio, Columbus area, you know Trey Burke. You have to know Trey Burke. You guys see what great career he had at Michigan for the 2 years. Trey, in my mind, is a very great player. Very good player, did excellent at Michigan. I think part of the reason why he was so good and played so well was the simple fact that he didn't go to Ohio State. Here's a Columbus kid who felt like he was overlooked by Ohio State, the city he grew up in, 10 minutes away from the school. So you know what he did? He was hungry. He killed himself in the gym. He had a point to prove to everyone around here. You know what? Ohio State, I'm a kid from Columbus, you overlooked me. I'm going to pay you back. That's just one small example of hunger. You all have to find your own hunger. If you look at that list and you don't see your name, and you're kind of mad about it, well, use that as motivation. If you're 100, well, I got to work hard to get to 90. You get to 90, I got to get to 75. Find something that motivates you. And it's always going to be something that motivates you. It doesn't stop when you get to number 1. You think Jordan stopped when he became the best? No, something always motivated Jordan. That's why he's the greatest ever. He was always motivated. So my message to you guys, when you look at these rankings or thinking about these rankings, don't let it get you down or don't get your head too big about it, because realistically, it's not that big of a deal. But if you're not where you want to be, use it as hunger, motivation, and go take what you want. No one's going to hand it to you. I'm definitely not going to be the starting point guard and say, here, you go take my spot. If you want my spot, you have to come to practice every day, early, real early, because I'm going to be there earlier. You have to beat me every day. And then you have to stay after practice, because I'm going to stay after. You have to stay after later than me to take my spot. And that's what it takes. So at this time now, we'll take a couple-minute break. I advise you parents to stay. We'll be here to talk to these gentlemen. I think I want it to be a process where you get a little more intimate. Maybe ask some questions. Here's some things when the kids aren't around. Because everything is not for them. Maybe you have some questions that you need to know, some answers you need to, some questions you have to ask and some answers you need to know. So we'll take a couple-minute break. Young men, meet you guys in the gym. Get some things going, because I know you guys are ready to get this basketball stuff started. So a couple-minute break, we'll be back at it.